Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is Thursday, March 10th, and today we're going to take a look at this system moving into BC. It's going to bring some high clouds and some precip mainly to the northern Cascades today. And then on its heels is this system out here. This is going to come roaring towards the Oregon-Washington coast, and a pretty deep low is going to form as it starts to move inland. Looks like it might start to fill before it moves inland, sparing us a more powerful blow, but we are going to have chances later on into next week as the Gulf of Alaska troughing is going to be in full force. Deep lows are going to be moving through near the Queen Charlotte Islands, spawning powerful fronts across Pacific Northwest, with a potential for some developing systems on the southern periphery of that main parent low in the Gulf of Alaska that can swing some of these weaker lows, but they can still bring powerful punches to the west coast. And checking out things across the rest of the country, you can see winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, winter storm watch up in the northeast for that strong system that's going to be moving up here this weekend. And we'll take a look at that here in some of the maps. Here's a NAM 12 kilometer low resolution. Just wanted to show you guys the timing of this. Looks like this will start Saturday morning, moving up the east coast, bring a pretty good shot of snowfall for a lot of the northeast there. And you can see that cold air filling in behind this system as this system will move all the way up towards Greenland. We'll take a look at that in a little more detail, and we're going to go into a lot of detail on the system coming up for us here this weekend as well. So here's the NAM 3KM. This is the high resolution model. It's finally within range here. And as we go into the future here, you'll see Friday night into Saturday morning, the pressure start falling across the region as this low deepens up pretty good off the west coast here. This is 60 hours. And some of the models have been showing this starting to fill before it moves inland, which would spare us a more significant windstorm blow, but it can still bring some powerful winds to portions of western Washington and Oregon. And then we have systems after that on its heels, so we'll check that out here too. Here's the NAM 12 kilometers low resolution model. It goes out a little bit further. You can see there it is about 992 millibars. This is Saturday evening, bringing pretty good winds to the Oregon coast here in southwest Washington in this scenario into Saturday night. As this low dives inland, you can see the strong gradient cast across the Washington-Oregon coast as it moves inland. This scenario would not be that windy for Seattle, but Portland would get some pretty good winds out of this, probably in the 40-mile-per-hour range, maybe a little bit higher. As this weakens as it moves through, and you can see this much deeper low over here moving towards the Queen Charlotte Islands. It's going to spawn a powerful front. It's going to move across all the Pacific Northwest here and probably down into California as well. So checking out the European, this is this morning's run. You can see the high pressure bringing us our decent day today. High clouds are going to be increasing and some moisture will come into the Cascades, maybe some light precip for northern areas. Here we are into Friday evening. You can see that storm system out here starting to really get its act together and comes spinning up towards us here, and pretty good agreement with the NAM there, and it starts to fill before it makes landfall. So this would spare us again more powerful blow. You can see it reaches its maximum depth here about Saturday evening offshore, and it's starting to fill as it moves onshore. But this is still a pretty good wind maker for the Oregon coast. You can see a tight gradient moving across there and through southwest Washington. So pretty good model agreement really for the NAM and the European there on this morning's runs. And then you see the much deeper low up towards the Queen Charlotte. It's going to bring a really powerful front here through, looks like Monday night of next week. Then a transient ridge will build, and then we're going to get some more systems after that, which we'll look at shortly. Here's the GFS, same map. You can see the high pressure over the region now, and then this system developing offshore. GFS has it bottoming out about 989 there Saturday afternoon. That's good agreement there with the models. And as it approaches the Oregon coast, you see it's much further south. It would cast a strong gradient central Oregon coast and south, as this really would leave Seattle with very little wind in this scenario and more of a Willamette Valley windy day there. Nothing too extreme, though, yet. But we have to watch these systems. This one's developing kind of late, but it is filling as it approaches the coast. So that would save us a more serious blow. And going on to the GFS, you can see that system here as it spawns a strong front. Transient ridge is another system comes through again later next week, and then you can see again more frontal systems moving through the area as low pressure systems continue on into all the way through next weekend and probably after that as well. Looks like a pretty active period coming up here as you can see some of these systems developing on the GFS in the future. So here is this morning's European run. This kind of shows you all in North America, Alaska, the West Coast, Pacific Ocean here. And here's that system out here developing on the East Coast. You see it spinning up pretty good here on the European run. That would be a significant snowfall for portions of the Northeast, DC, all the way up towards Maine. And look at this thing just bottom out at 936 there as it moves up towards Greenland. I mean, what a storm. Just an impressive, monstrous storm moving up the East Coast. So that's probably going to grab a lot of the headlines. And our system moving on here is fairly strong in its own right. And you can see it there moving on the Washington coast would be big wind maker for the Oregon coast there. And then you see the powerful frontal system bearing down as we have our own monster out over the Gulf of Alaska here, bringing a lot of precip mountain snows all the way from Alaska and down through California eventually. And we're going to check out some of the longer runs here as we go. So here is, let's check out last night's European actually. Let's look at that. So let's compare. Put this into motion here. You can see that storm system developing on the East Coast there, and our system developing here. Bottoms out about 9:87 there on about 6 p.m. Saturday evening there. And you can see it brings a lot of precipitation across Washington, Oregon, down in Northern California. And you can see that gradient kind of try to get up towards Seattle. So we're going to have to watch this. Any kind of deviation of that track, or if the storm comes in a little bit deeper, it'll move a little further north and expose more of western Washington to a blow, as this just incredible storm moves up towards Greenland. Wow. Wouldn't want to be a researcher up there on the ice sheet when this thing moves in. So anyway, this powerful low, you can see, starts to fill near the Queen Charlottes in southeast Alaska here, but it's bringing a really powerful front, a lot of precipitation through the region, all the way down towards the Bay Area of California, really. And then you can see another system on its heels moving up towards Vancouver Island, Queen Charlotte's there. And a lot of cold air behind this, really unsettled conditions for a lot of the West Coast. As this precip, you can see mainly Bay Area north, all throughout the Pacific Northwest, as this Gulf of Alaska low looks to be entrenched here on into the future, on into next weekend. So checking out, this is just the same map here, and we'll just let this run through here, see if there's anything that we can point out that I missed the last run here. But yeah, that Gulf of Alaska trophy looks like it's on the way here. Here's the GFS. Let's let this play out. This is from this morning. Let's make sure this is most up-to-date information here. And you can see that system there spin into the Washington, Oregon coast. And that good agreement with that frontal system moving through on the day of Monday with this deep low over southeast Alaska, Gulf of Alaska. And then a lot of cold air behind that is another system developing here. And there's going to be potential for a system spinning up in this area too, depending on the evolution of this Gulf of Alaska low pressure here. So you can see a lot of cold air is really spilling into the region. This would be a good snowmaker all the way down into California and Nevada. So a lot of cold air is just making its way down through here as a powerful storm system would eject in this scenario out over the northern plains here. Check that thing out, 979, 978 millibar low as it moves up over the Midwest. But yeah, so very active period looks to be coming up here, folks. The storm train is on its way, and this is a Canadian. Let's see how it looks. And you can see it develops a pretty powerful low. This is more of a blow for even into western Washington. Here is a 988 low coming right off of the point there, the Nia Bay there off of northwest Washington, slams into Vancouver Island, brings some pretty windy conditions here. So we got to watch this system, folks. So this thing comes in a little bit stronger. This could really be a wind maker for portions of western Washington, Oregon, and even southern BC if the low is strong enough and takes more northerly track. With these lows, when they're stronger, they take a more northerly track. They like to, when they spin up like that, they like to move north, and they fill and occlude, and they would move north versus a more weaker low, which would dive more into the coastline. But even those weaker lows can still cast powerful gradients on the south side of them as they make landfall. And then good agreement during the morning time and Monday as this powerful front moves through the area all the way down near the Bay Area there on the extended. Well, let's back. That's only 117 hours out. Let's look at see if the Canadians brought any more information in here. So yeah, we're going out further now. As you can see, a lot of cold air streaming in. Good mountain snows to the Cascades, British Columbia coastal range, all the way out through the Rockies as this cold air just blasts through the area. Gulf of Alaska low agreement there on the Canadian on into the future here with possible system development on the southern periphery of this as well. So we have a lot to watch here the next week or two. And here is the GFS. Let's make sure this is the UW GFS. A wide look at things here. We're going to stop it here. This is for Saturday morning, and you can see it has the low developing, then kind of moving towards the Oregon coast here. And this is last night's run. You can see where it moves from 0Z to 12Z here. So a little bit of differences coming up here. But looking at Monday here, you can see the warm tongue this system is bringing up here. So it's going to bring some warm air with it too. So pretty good precipitation maker. Might even change that to rain at the passes for a brief amount of time before the front passes. Then the really cold air comes in aloft. No valley snow with this, but really good mountain snows throughout the region. And then the next frontal system would move through. So yeah, all models are in agreement with this active period coming up here. You can see a smattering of the European ensemble runs have some pretty good winds, some wind advisory level winds for the Seattle area, but some do not have that. If that low takes a south track, we are going to get blanked in Seattle, and it'll be more of a Portland windstorm. And if it's even further south, like some of the GFS runs are saying, it'd be more of an Oregon coast system. But like we saw, the Canadian has that thing going into Vancouver Island, a pretty powerful low pressure system. So we have to watch that. These systems tend to come in a little bit stronger than advertised when they develop late. Now here is Seattle Tacoma. You can see how we just kind of turn on the faucet here starting really Saturday evening, and not much of a break as we go on through the extended here. And you can see some pretty good precipitation totals. This is 24-hour precipitation totals coming up here as these systems move through. You can see that frontal system going through on Monday there, bringing some really good precipitation amounts through the area. Shouldn't be a prolonged atmospheric river-like condition, though. Here's Quileute, northwest Washington coast. And you can see the smattering of high winds that are in here. This just kind of shows the variability in these storm systems in our model runs right now. But there is a potential for some high winds there on the Washington coast. Here's Tillamook. You can see the European ensemble likes this as a pretty windy system for Tillamook, Oregon here. A few of them don't have much wind, but you can see it. There's some of these up over 60 miles per hour even, and more than a few over 50 miles per hour. So it might be a pretty windy period here coming up on into Saturday night into Sunday morning for the Oregon coast, depending on the timing and the strength of this low. So here we're looking 3 to 4 weeks out, temperature outlook. You can see we remain below here and above average precipitation. So it's kind of highlighting the stormy period we have coming up here. And that looks to stay on through into beginning of April. So this is kind of a La Nina feature here. We have these cool, wet springs. So we'll see how this pans out, but the signal is there. And here we go, 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. Cascades are highlighted there. And you can see most of the Northwest under above normal precipitation chances. Hopefully we get some of that for the East Coast or the east slopes of the Oregon Cascades. They'll bust that drought there. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, mainly Washington on into Idaho, Portland pretty much near normal, or Oregon pretty much near normal. 3 to 4 week temperature outlook, that's just kind of showing you a little bit closer. But yeah, we have to watch this system here. This thing has potential to bring wind to much of the area here, or it could move south of us and we might not get much at all. So we need to watch this thing closely. I'll do another video tomorrow as always, and we'll check out what the models say and see if they're still in good agreement about the storm train rolling in on the Pacific Northwest on into the future here. So yeah, a lot to watch, and we're going to have some windstorm chances going up here in the next 1 to 2 weeks as all this cold air and this Pacific energy is going to be much closer to our doorstep here and give us potential for some really heavy mountain snows, lowland rains, and potential windy periods. Even during these periods, though, when these systems are moving through, we can get these transient ridges that build for a day or so and give us a really nice day for, between major systems. So it's not just going to be a 100% rainy period there. We're going to get a decent day, or after a front passes, you'll get some nice sun breaks. So it's not just going to be 100% rain for the next 1 to 2 weeks. So yeah, check back with me tomorrow. Leave any feedback you guys have in the remarks. Click like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.